Daniel's Dread Talk is a show where grown-ups talk, so there's going to be adult language. This week we're doing a post-mortem on pilot season. Tune in next episode where we'll kick off the campaign proper.
Okay, well, all right.
A retrospective on the pilot season.
So, how about we just take these in order? The person who we start with, the first one we did, and the person who GM'd it, explains their process, and we all reflected on it a bit, and then we move forward one at a time.
Works for
That
me.
makes sense.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry that means you kind of get a bit screwed on this, Matt, because you only need to be here for one section.
Well, should
Well-
Matt go first then?
No, I want to hear the rest of you make an example of yourselves.
Okay, got it.
All right, that's fair. Yeah.
Well, I
respect-
think mine was the first one then, right?
Yep.
It was
Yes.
Eternal Lies.
Yes, we were doing Eternal Lies, which is adapted from a pre-existing book. I gave it my own sort of spin, but it was adapted from a pre-existing thing. And it's in one of my favorite systems, which is, of course, Trail of Cthulhu. It's a gumshoe game. We've done those before. If I was making bad choices, almost every single game would be a gumshoe game that I was running, but that's probably not for the best, so it's probably better that change it around. I am hoping we return to it someday is what I'm going to say, because I like the typical, it's very typical sort of Lovecraft stuff.
Mhm.
You start investigating things and whatnot. The thing that I like a lot about it is the idea that like something wild has already happened and we don't know, and you're trying to figure out how that all went down. I will say it went, I don't know if, well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what else to say about it. I think I like the players that we were playing with. I think they were a fun little group. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, I just wanted to create something that was, spooky insane asylum, spooky old mansion, weird mouths all over the place. I think it all played out pretty well. Yeah,
Very
that's
classically
cool.
Lovecraft.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very classically Lovecraft.
I have
If
a
we were to
question,
do
if
some
you
more
don't
of it,
mind.
we may do it someday. You were going to eventually go to like Mexico and like China, and there's going to be all sorts of like world traveling adventures in there. But
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt, you had a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah.
Was there any thing that particularly inspired you to choose that one shot that you did for the pitch?
So I really like that. I mean, I just in general like Trail of Cthulhu. I like the setting and whatnot, but it's classically me. It was going to eventually get us to. I liked going to Savannah, Georgia. I like going to places. I like going to
Savannah,
real
Georgia.
places and doing a thing. So I
I
like
was
that we were
waiting for
going
that.
to. Yeah. We were going to Georgia, and then eventually you were going to go to Los Angeles. And you were going to go, which I've done before, but I like historical Los Angeles and then just a bunch of historical places. I love the history of it. But that's why I wanted to go with this one, because there are other like Trail of Cthulhu things that I've looked at. And you can do Cthulhu stuff, and then you just kind of keep it vague. It's like, ooh, it's like kind of New England and bad things are happening. But I prefer to be like, no, let's get into it. Let's find a place. It's my love of history is the thing that I like to expose with that sort of stuff.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
and with most of the Cthulhu mythos that at
Yeah.
least I've looked into and read and listened to on YouTube and shit like that, most of it happens in New England.
Yeah.
Like, you don't
Yep.
really see too much. I think there's like maybe one or two stories that happen outside of that like geographic area.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why I wanted to do different things,
Former guest Chris Lackey has a whole ass podcast on Lovecraft that's absolutely worth checking out.
Absolutely. I've listened to some of it. It's very good.
Nice.
What is it?
The podcast is currently called Strange Studies of Strange Stories. It used to be the HP Podcraft, or HP Lovecraft Literary Podcast. It was way off.
Yeah.
the top.
It was not the HP Podcraft. That was
Although
the
that
organization.
is kind of a badass name.
Yeah.
Not
Like,
gonna lie.
someone
For,
write
like,
that down.
for a Lovecraftian podcast.
Oh, that was their website.
That was the website. We don't get to take it.
Yeah.
They already
Oh.
had it. They already
Got
had
it.
it.
Lame.
For my part, I really did enjoy the one shot. I apologize for because I
don't need to
promised I was
apologize.
trying to consistently get the voice. I was failing.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you can start out English and then you ended up Irish and get some Australian in there.
Well, I was just doing this the entire time for the voices of people in Savannah, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Which is, kind of a problem, to be perfectly frank. But
I played my possibly least insane character so far, Colin
yes.
Kane.
Well, that
Ironically-
character could have ended up more insane. We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
if we
quite
get to it.
ironic that your least insane character comes from a Lovecraft story.
Well,
Yeah.
you start out sane, and then you get more than sane. That's how it
Yeah,
goes.
true.
Like, I know my character was kind of fast tracking down the insane track on that one.
Yeah.
But I mean, that also kind of went into the idea I had with that character, because, like, essentially they were ex-military guy that accidentally an elder god, or at least an aspect of an elder god, into existence during the war, and it kind of fucked them up a little bit.
That'll do that.
It does, yeah.
Oopsie whoopsie, I did a Yagi Sothy.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I would love to return to that someday,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a good time. So
Yeah. I hope we get back to it too one day. I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
absolutely.
I'm gonna say that up top. I hope we get back to all of them one day. I really enjoyed all of them.
yeah. But by the time we get back to it, I'm gonna have other ideas. Like, I'm already trying to justify having a Star Trek game. There's some Star Trek horror. No, not, a little bit, but
Not the
Anyway.
tribbles.
Yeah, tribbles. They're terrifying. Anyway.
The terror of tribbles.
I mean, you can do horror in really any setting.
You can't do horror in any setting. Just some. Also, the things I like about Star Trek are not horror, though. So,
Yeah.
like, that wouldn't actually work super well. Let's have a debate about ethics.
The way you make tribbles horror is we're playing as Klingons.
Yes, that is horrible for them.
Mm.
It's because I'm deep in my Deep Space Nine watch. Worf just
Best.
got married. Spoiler alert, I guess.
I mean, it's only like, what, 16?
It's like my friend Jeff, who was mad when I told him King Kong dies at the end.
That's a bit, right? That didn't actually happen, right?
That happened. We went to see the Peter Jackson King Kong, and I jokingly, when the name came up on the screen, I said, "I think he dies at the end," and he legitimately got mad at me. And I talked to him later. I'm like, "Did you think he was gonna climb down? You know he climbs up the tower."
Yeah, there is only one way that movie ends.
Anyway, so what was the next one we did?
That would be me.
Yes.
Beyond the Black.
Oh, the spooky cabin.
Yeah. So, okay, the system that I was running for that was you're in space and everyone's fucked. And
Solid
everything's
name.
fucked. Very
Yeah.
solid name. So I
Kind of
originally
the whole premise.
I originally found that game on Kickstarter, actually. It is I do believe Dinoberry Press.
Rings a bell.
But yeah, it's a great little game. It's a very much build your own horror. So the way that the game works, for anybody who doesn't know, is essentially when you open up a room, you roll to see if something's there, and then you would then normally roll at that point in time to see what the thing is, how much of an eldritch horror it is, and whatnot. I rolled up like 20 monsters ahead of time. So like the whole thing with that was more to kind of try and set up the PCs are caught in like this eldritch horror situation out in space, and they have to figure out what's going on and how to get out, maybe?
I'm not gonna lie. The thing that I feel worst about is that I just decided early on that my bit was that my character was going to believe that things were a simulation. I did not know that it was going to end up being a simulation. So I feel bad if I started like telegraphing your twist immediately.
No, actually, that worked out really well, I thought.
Okay.
Because it led to kind of a little bit of interpersonal conflict within the PCs. Because like you were all kind of riffing off of that. And yeah, you were right at the end. But the thing with that was more the getting to the end.
Exactly.
Now, like, if I was to do something different, I might have added more enemies.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because there was just a lot of rooms. And it sounded like people were getting frustrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and like I did kind of change the gameplay up a little bit. from what it was supposed to be, just essentially for brevity and because it fit the scenario that I was trying to run.
Yeah. You can't get married to a rule set. You gotta figure out your own stuff.
Yeah.
The whole idea of being like trapped in a space environment is like really good horror because you know that like outside it's just nothing and you will literally die like instantly.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like the whole shtick behind it for anybody who hasn't heard the episode, which you should give it a listen. It's great. It's fun. I ran it.
I agree.
Is the PCs were prisoners on a prison space station, and they were, at least as far as anybody knows at this point, the only survivors of whatever happened, and nobody really knows what that was. Other than the fact that there seems to be a whole bunch of ritualistic shit going on when everybody woke up.
And also, we were in a cabin.
Yeah, you were in a cabin with weird trees that shouldn't have been there, and a very strangely like square plot of land that didn't look like, there's just trees all around it.
Mm-hmm.
Same kind of
Turned out
similar.
it was a simulation or something, but we never quite figured out why we were being simulated. I suppose that's to be discovered in the future.
Yes.
And I hope we do discover in the future. I liked the character I was playing, L. I'll admit the idea was partially inspired by recent real-world events. Fun fact about the music industry, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, it does.
You can say that about most industries, I find.
No, true enough. But I think my thought process for her backstory was like, I was thinking about that because it was in the news recently, and I'm like, man, Kesha would have been totally in the moral right to have just murdered her manager. And then I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And that's how that came about.
Yeah. I was looking at the weirdo cultists from Alien 3 and did sort of a variation on that.
Nice.
Yeah. That was my inspiration anyway.
I genuinely thought about the dangers that a plumber in space might face, and ended up with someone who looked like a pirate.
It
I mean, it works.
does work,
All right.
So I think it's Russell's turn next.
Yeah.
Cold Hard Light.
That's right.
Bunch of ding-dongs exploring a water park built in the ruins of a dead god. Well, that one... go ahead.
It was quite the premise.
Yeah.
Yep.
What a
I think-
concept.
I think out of all of us, yours had easily the strongest elevator pitch.
That's fair.
Like I can't compete with that. No one can.
The way that came about is my wife and I were just killing time waiting for our car to get new brakes, and we picked up a book, which I forget the name of at the moment. James D'Amato wrote it, and it's all about world building. And we ran through that and changed a couple things, and we ended up with, rather than the tamer stuff that's on there, water park built in a dead god.
Yeah.
And I combined that with some sci-fi ideas I've had floating around in my head for years, and just thought about what the future looks like. If we take this society and give it interstellar travel, what does that look like? It's not all that impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
You made the
it's still
system
us.
for that, right?
Yeah.
The stars are not going to save us. It's just us.
yeah. The next place I would have taken that is exploring how teleporting works in such a universe. And that would have been some proper horror.
There we go.
Like the what is that? The Stephen King story, The Jaunt, right? Is that it? Something like that. There's a Stephen King story about teleporting. Yeah, they tell you not to open your eyes.
Ah.
That's fair.
Yeah. But you made the system that we played, right?
Yeah, I did. That was fun. Because I wanted to
Jeez.
encourage you guys not to do teamwork.
Yeah, my character somehow just ended up like laying down for a lot of that.
For some reason, it
Wait.
was the second time I ended up playing a woman with a severe drug problem on this show. I don't know how this keeps happening.
I was amused by the fact that I got the monster high at the end, and it started
Yeah.
eating fucking water park.
That
Hey,
did
I'm gonna
happen,
do
didn't
something
it?
very foolish.
I remember a couple episodes later, Nathan's saying something like, "Yeah, we're not really known for subtlety." And I'm just thinking back on this one. I hid so much stuff in that, but I encourage you guys to ignore it.
That's a trick, man. It's a balance to walk. I sometimes get maybe too obvious when I do my mystery ones and be like, no, but there's probably like a clue here. You can probably like go check it out.
Oh,
You
we'll
want to search
definitely
for
get
anything,
to.
like maybe a secret door or something?
Yeah.
Trust me, we're definitely going to get to the topic of mysteries that are too obvious when my turn comes around.
Oh my god, I can't believe we all missed it until right before the reveal. That's pretty good.
That was great.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
Except
one.
we immediately suspected someone right away. So
That's true, yeah.
But for now, though, anyone have anything else to note on
Yeah.
Russell's?
No, it was honestly it was a pretty fun time. I enjoyed my character that I played. I do think it would be fun to revisit with a set system, because I think you were saying that the system that you ran it in initially wasn't the one that you wanted to use for the final project, as it were.
Yeah, we were going to explore the universe before getting into a proper campaign. Oh, I guess I could talk about what my pitch was, actually. Or my hook for the real meat of the campaign. It was, I read ages and ages ago how our behavior and morals was influenced by the fact that we evolved from mammals. And in this universe, humanity hasn't encountered intelligent life. What if they did encounter intelligent life that didn't evolve from prey animals?
interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's quite a pitch. I'd be curious to see where that would go.
Yeah.
Wow, Deep Space Nine started 31 years ago.
Yeah.
I know I'm just reading that, but I'd like read it a couple of times, but it's like sinking in.
I wrote that message 16 years ago.
Deep Space Nine, it's good.
It is good, actually.
Voyager's better.
Ooh,
But-
well, them's fighting words, but we won't do it right now.
TNG, but we don't want to have this fight right now.
All
I'll
right, our
fight.
next pilot was Shoal Shadows, or Shadows of Shoal.
Shields Shadows.
That was
Wow.
yours, right, Matt?
Yeah, that was mine. So like Sheol is actually like an old word for the underworld.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the whole like idea for that was to give awful people a playground in which to do awful things to other awful people. And part of that is like seeing, are they going to keep being awful? Or are they going to like see how bad it can get and be like, actually, fuck this. This is like bad. I do not want to be this.
Can prison rehabilitate you?
Yeah. But the real like inspiration for that whole thing was not to compare myself to the absolute geniuses that worked on it, but Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, nice.
And just give you like a space to like encounter groups of people doing their own thing for their own various reasons, usually bad.
Yeah.
And decide like, do I want to be associated with these people? Is it okay if I let them just keep doing what they're doing? Should I step in? And have ramifications for any of those choices.
Should I tell people my name?
Should I take their blood?
Yes. The answer to both is yes, because that makes me do fun things.
Yeah, I definitely want to play more of that, especially because I still have ideas of what I would like to do to that bartender and the fungus lady.
Yes.
I get the impression that my character was about to get killed, so I mean, I can make another
maybe.
one. I was just gonna keep punching, but I don't know if punching was gonna be the solution.
Yeah. I like there was a moment where you, Daniel, was like waffling between, I'm going to, are we killing the spider? Are we not killing the spider?
Yeah.
Are we setting the place on fire?
Look, you got to decide. It's like, I'm done with these people. Are we gonna kill them? What
Yeah.
are we gonna do here?
I figured if I gave you two groups of people that were objectively bad, who were both trying to like make you do the thing that they want
Yeah.
themselves, they'd be like, well, now it's gonna suck whatever they choose. And then you had the mushroom lady. I was like, well, obviously this bitch is bad, so
Yep.
Oh yeah, that tree at like when because I do definitely want to jump back into that at some point in time, and when we do, that bar and that tree are getting burnt right the fuck to the ground.
Fuck Mr. House. Fuck Caesar's Legion. Fuck NCR.
Like,
there's one like real regret that I have when I ran that, and that is starting the encounter with the hunter too soon. I should have known that Russell would just run in there and start the fight, and I should have given you more time as casters to get your shit together.
Something I felt quite bad about after I completed that game. I'm like, man, it was way too easy for me to instantly kill that guy. So then I took a closer look at the cheat sheet, and hide is a check. I couldn't just vanish into the darkness.
Oh,
well,
well.
you just were really good that one time.
Yeah.
I guess
We
so.
can just assume that accidentally got cut out, and you definitely made that roll.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
I figured I'd rule in your favor regardless because it was a pitch, and who knows if you were going to be able to do this again. Which is why I should have just made more room for Damien, and I believe it was Russell as well, to get their magical shit together to actually cast your spells.
I think half my spells are healing anyway.
I think you still need an implement and whatnot to be able to use those.
Yeah. Oh, I got some gross descriptions written up for him too.
Oh, I
Oh,
bet.
that did not surprise me. Yeah, I think if I was to say that I had like one regret about that game, it was the fact that I didn't get to summon my friend.
Yeah. I wanted to see your friend as well.
Because that just was a whole bag of fun that I had planned. Because like the way that worked is like, because I could do invocations, which would give potentially me insanity, but I could cast those invocations on my friend, on my like crafted friend instead. And then I get boons to that roll in addition to the boons that I got for the corruption that I had. Oh yeah, it was a great time.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's basically a summoned demon bound in a fucking stitched up massive corpses.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
It would have been under my control.
Yeah,
Definitely.
always.
And great, now we've got a fourth eldritch monstrosity one-man faction to deal with.
You know, let them pit them against each other.
It's fine.
I will say my voice treatment for the spider on that is some of the most neat editing I've done so far.
Yeah, that was
Really-
rad as
Oh, yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really like that. I sent that out to people once in a while. I was like, hey, here's the thing I did.
Yeah,
They're like,
it was nifty.
It was,
like, Russell, I know I'm your best friend, but I'm not interested in the things you do.
you know, that's how most of my friends react whenever I show them my writing too, so I feel ya.
Same.
Oh,
I'm
I get
always
that
like,
as well.
I know you don't want to listen to it, but here it is anyways.
Yep.
My wife has told me I listened to the first episode of your podcast. That's enough.
Hey, at least she
Damn.
listened to the first episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. She's like, it's not for me. And I'm like, fair, it's not for you. That's fine.
Renee listens to every episode one way or another.
Sometimes multiple times.
Yeah.
Lock the doors.
Yeah, I love the gang warfare vibe of
Yeah.
like the dark fantasy gang warfare is felt very unique to me. The fact that it was just Fallout did not even click with me.
It reminds me of the this is nobody's gonna know this reference because famously I'm an old man.
Yeah.
The Dragon Wars game, which was kind of Bard's Tale 3 or Bard's Tale 4 put out by Interplay. Start off at a fantasy prison. No?
Yeah, I
Nope.
remember that game.
Hmm.
Oh, you
None
started
of
in a
the
prison.
words
You mean
just
Oblivion?
said made sense to me.
You forget that I'm also, actually, I
I
think I'm the
know.
oldest person on the podcast.
Yeah. And then some of that team went on to make Fallout, and then Fallout kind of became or excuse me, they went to make not Fallout, the thing before Fallout. Wasteland. That team went on to make Wasteland, and then Wasteland became Fallout. So it's all connected, baby.
Oh, wow. That is an old game.
Yeah,
That is a
Dragon
big
Wars.
old
It's
game.
from 1989, I think.
Dang.
88.
Damn.
Yeah,
Damn.
I like that game. It's a good game. You should play it.
35 years old. That's 4 years older than Deep Space Nine.
and 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but you're a baby.
I get that a lot. All right.
That leaves us with our last pilot, Low Places.
Yeah.
Nathan.
Low Places.
Good name.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It was not my idea.
Take it. It's yours.
It's the idea you
I-
chose.
I guess so. Yeah, I was not prepared for Low Places to win as hard as it did in the poll. I was
Neither
like,
was
wait,
I.
what's happening? Wait, stop it. No, wait, I'm not ready. But honestly, I had a good time making it and running it. And this is something that I'm going to put in the Monster of the Week in our Discord server that I think we should also put in the description of this when we upload it. It is a resource that I found on Reddit, unfortunately, that is just a massive mystery generation table, and this was
Ooh, neat.
so fucking helpful.
No doubt. I was about to say, just to throw it out there, there are worse places on the internet than Reddit. You've heard of 4chan, right?
Okay, yeah, I mean, obviously, but
We don't talk about 4chan.
What
Like-
about 8chan?
yeah.
I've been on the internet for too long.
You and me both, my friend.
Yeah, the things I've seen. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. From this table, I got the idea of setting it on a train and having the antagonist be an angel. And I'm really proud of how it all turned out. But the fact that you guys all instantly zeroed in on Yuri as a suspect did break my heart a little bit. But that's on me.
Yeah, like honestly, anytime an NPC is described as nondescript looking,
Ah!
as far as their physical features, I'm like, no, something's wrong with that person.
Yeah.
There's something wrong there,
Because
and
the
that needs
idea
to get
is
dealt
that
with.
the idea was that her face kind of has the same effect that Mr. Miller's face has, where it looks like you're seeing them from your peripheral, even if you're looking right at them.
Yeah, it was a good time. I haven't played Monster of the Week before. I'd be curious to see. It seems like it's going to be, at least this one's going to be very divine, demonic sort of thing going on.
Yeah, and that was not intentional, but
You rolled an angel.
I did roll an angel, but I figured, this will be kind of like a one-off thing. I'll just have Uriel as the villain for this one, and I don't think I'll be coming back to the divine stuff too often. And then 2 of my players came with me with a fallen angel and actual Catholic dude who lived, Roland.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, probably did it was a guy who lived, but the legends about him not true.
Yeah, I don't think that Roland guy's real.
No, you could see our Discord as we're planning, as I start saying yeah, what if I was Roland? Roland? Anyone? Roland? We all know who Roland is, right? Anybody?
Roland from
And
history.
everyone's
right?
like, no.
I
Yes.
genuinely had never heard of him.
Yes.
See, whenever I hear Roland, honestly, and this is I'm probably going to catch flack for this. Stephen King comes up. Because I think Roland Deschain
Yeah.
from The Dark Tower, and then after that, I think Child Roland to The Dark Tower came. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not the Roland he. Well, is the Roland he's talking about? Because that was an actual story.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
When I think of Roland, I think of synthesizers and stuff.
But yeah, honestly, my character in that, one of the big things that they're going to be aiming for as a, for lack of a better term, downtime project is trying to turn that glass shard back into a flaming sword. Somehow.
Yeah.
I just like the character because I settled on it because I was reading through the roles, and I was looking at some of the roles that aren't in the main book, and there was the one that was the time displace guy, and I was like, that's perfect. And once again, I get to do as much as I can of history stuff. So I'm going to try to use a little bit of that. Didn't really come up much. And honestly, if I do too much of it, it becomes the Roland show. And I'm not trying to make it the Roland show. But, talk about, I want to tell you about the Holy Roman Empire. I literally just told my wife about the Holy Roman Empire today. 'Cause she said, "What is that?" And I said, "Do you want me to explain it to you?" And she said, "Yeah, actually." So
You got 3 hours?
Do you have time?
we were driving back. We were
Okay, yeah.
stuck in a car.
Captive audience.
Perfect.
That works.
Yeah. But,
I chose the para-romantic because all the other ones looked like, I could try and play something of a grounded character, and that's probably just not going to work out very well. So I'm going to play something weird.
yeah, right?
It should not have surprised me that you went with the pararomantic. It makes too much sense.
Gail's a very fun character, and I'm looking forward to playing them more.
I'm looking forward to whatever the fuck WoW's is gonna put me through. And it's super nice to have Isaiah and Theo on this.
That went pretty well.
For sure.
Yeah.
I am very happy that, because at the very least, even though everybody was instantly like, "Oh yeah, it was the painter. Obviously, it's the painter. That's why wouldn't it be the painter? You described her as nondescript." Nobody at all questioned MAGA Hat Lucy because of it. Even though I did the exact same trick with the name that I did for Uriel.
When you give those fucking obvious names and just want to die, I'm like, oh, of course. I had a D&D game I ran years ago. I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before. I had a character they were interacting with named Gad Nor. If you rearrange directions, it's obviously they're a dragon. Though my friend Huck did say, if you reverse the letters, I know what's going on. It's Rondag. I was like,
Of course
I
it
don't know what
is.
Rondag means, but sure. We still laugh about Rondag to this day. But
I had a similar dragon-based D&D thing that happened where people were getting chased up like a pyramid kind of thing. And they've been hearing about this dragon emperor at the top. And they're like, oh, if we just go to the dragon emperor, we'll take him hostage. They get to the top and it's a fucking dragon, obviously. And they're like, shit.
Yeah, that wasn't going to work out good.
Yeah, that usually ends up going very poorly.
Yeah. Well,
It's
I look forward to playing some more of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was
look
a good
forward
game.
to
Nathan.
running more of it. I thank you.
6 days to go.
Yeah.
They.
Get to prepping.
I mean, if you want, we could just run my thing. No, I'm
It's
I'm
your
not gonna lie.
podcast.
I was kind of hoping mine was gonna win. We were tied at one point, and then you pulled ahead, and it's fine. I'm good. I'm excited for it. But
What amuses me is somebody that had originally voted for yours, Daniel, switched their vote to Nathan's. Because at one point, because I during that week I was keeping track and just checking in on the poll as it went, and then the next time I looked, it's 3 for yours and 5 for Nathan's. I'm like, yep, somebody changed their mind.
Well, they're now banned. Banned from listening.
it's fine, really. I'm not. My feelings are not really hurt. Only
If you keep saying that, we'll believe you.
yeah, exactly.
We could say
Stop
hurtful
Daniel
things.
shit tails, damn it! I'm supposed to know.
Now, that being said, as I had kind of brought up before, we could run some of these even as individual episodes on the monthly streams from time to time. To kind of keep it fresh in our minds, and if we have any stories that we want to run within them,
That's
with those
worth
same
considering. characters. Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, but we'll figure that out in the future as we figure out our streams.
that's
But yeah, like today I wasn't even able to make the stream, because I had a lot of stuff going on. So
Yeah.
I heard it was good. I heard there's something about waffles. I don't know.
Don't worry about
everybody
it.
likes waffles.
Well, if anybody's listening to this as the podcast episode, I do hope that you stay tuned for more low places. And despite me sort of jokingly wishing that we were doing something else, I'm really excited to be playing it, and it should be a really good time. I get to wield my sword around and hit people and be totally befuddled by this crazy modern world. So,
And I get to make out with monsters.
Yeah, you get to make out with monsters. We get Molgoths. It's a whole thing.
What else do you need?
Alright.
With that being said, I guess if this is sort of going up as an episode, have a pilot season-ish day? No, that's not great, but it's fine.
That was the worst one yet.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Later.
If this conversation is just put out as a podcast episode, check out the stream. I guess I don't know what we're gonna do with that. We're gonna make sure it goes up on YouTube. Yeah.
Trigger word: unrepentant cannibalism.
Very much so.
Unrepented is italicized just so we get the point across.
And underlined and bold.
Good lord.
Hey Shannon, I have this really awful issue with a rash in a place I can't discuss on air. Do you have anything to help me with that?
Oh boy, do I, Matt! Have you tried Dice Fiends? It's a podcast where games are played, and it's great, and it'll clear all your rashes up, especially the ones in those unmentionable places.
Oh, is it okay if I get it in an orifice?
I don't know how you would do that, it's audio. You can find it anywhere podcasts are.
Alright, I'm gonna head straight to my nearest podcast center and get me a jar of Dice Fiends. Thanks, Shannon.
You're welcome, Matt.
Dice Fiends has not been proven to clear rashes, but it can relieve boredom. If Dice Fiends is exposed to an orifice, contact your doctor immediately. You can find Dice Fiends and other shows like it on the Imaginary Broadcast Network.